Now, the heat wave may be over in the UK, with many of us expecting rain in the coming days. But in Australia, where, of course, it's winter, there is no let-up in a prolonged dry spell. Officials in the country's most populated state, New South Wales, say the state is now entirely in drought. From Sydney, Phil Mercer reports.
Australia is a land well used to nature's extremes. It's the world's driest inhabited continent, but the resilience of its farming communities is being severely tested. Southeastern Australia is in the grip of a drought worse than many can remember. It's had one of its driest autumns on record. Winter hasn't been kind either. Last month was the second hottest July ever documented. New South Wales is Australia's food bowl, but in many parts the land is cracked and parched. Official figures show that the entire state is in drought. 2 years ago, there were floods on Gary Sunderland's farm near the town of Condoblin. How quickly things can change.
Now, it's just the opposite story. Dams are going dry, no feed, stock are dying.
The cost of feeding livestock has soared. Many cattle are desperate for water. Government aid will ease the financial burdens, and the Prime Minister is promising more help.
I do understand these water challenges, and clearly we will work with state and local governments to ensure that water is provided.
While government assistance is welcome, it's ultimately a change in fortune from the weather that the farming community is hoping for.
You've had a dominance of high pressure, a bit like we've had here in the UK. The jet stream has been weaker and it's been pushed down towards the South Pole. You normally have severe droughts linked to El Nino, but it's just a neutral phase at the moment. However, in the longer term, we could well move into an El Nino pattern, which is why the long-range forecast for the spring in New South Wales is still dry.
Half of the state of Queensland is also in drought, as are parts of Victoria and South Australia. Crops have withered, and for farmers there's a mounting psychological cost. Light rain has fallen in some eastern areas of the country, but it's nowhere near enough, and the outlook isn't good. The fear is that a dry spring will be followed by another hot and punishing summer for Australia's farmers. Phil Mercer, BBC News, Sydney.